On this edition of Fishing with Joe, we'll be interviewing BassMaster Classic qualifier, Charlie Hartley. Fishing with Joe is brought to you in part by Fishing.net, the social networking site for anglers. No private lakes or mystery locations ever. I caught them and you can catch them too. I'm Joe Jordan and you have my word.
Did he get it? No. Came back for it. Yeah, come on.
Charlie, it's nice to meet you. I'm happy to have an opportunity to be able to interview you. So many people here in Ohio saw you at the Classic. They saw what a good job that you did. You inspired them and made them believe that anyone with enough courage and determination could make it to the Classic. Tell us a few things about you. What are some things that you've done in your life to be able to reach such a high level in professional fishing?
First of all, it's very flattering to have that many people watching. Fishing to me is just a passion. It's something I love to do. It was never my goal to be famous or to make money from fishing, but what a nice byproduct. I just love to fish, and that's probably the first thing that a professional bass fisherman has to have is a passion for the sport. It can never become work. You know, that's probably the easiest thing for me to do is go out and practice my craft. I want to be doing it every daylight hour, and when I wake up I want to do it again. So you know, there's a lot of things that put you in this position. Another one, of course, is the finances. The finances of being a professional bass fisherman are astronomical, and I didn't go out and win my first tournament. I was not the next Kevin Van Dam, so I knew I had to get myself in a financial position to be able to afford to be a bass pro. So first thing I'd encourage everyone to do is to get a good job and a backup plan. You're going to be financing yourself for a long time. But I started fishing when I was old enough to hold a fishing pole. My family were fishermen, and we used to spend the summers up in northern Michigan on a lake. And I started out with a split shot and a night crawler and caught anything that swims. And every time I caught a fish, I giggled like a 2-year-old, and I still do to this day. I just love to fish. So probably the best training ground in the world is out on the water. You cannot substitute time on the water.
Now, Charlie, what is your home lake here in Central Ohio?
You know, I cut my teeth on Alum Creek Reservoir and Hoover Reservoir. I was a member of the Alum Creek Bassmasters, and I try to still think of myself as a member of the Alum Creek Bassmasters, but you know, I cut my teeth walking the banks of Hoover Reservoir. You know, this is the time of the year you could be up there right now for the walleye run, and I used to spend a lot of time up there chasing those walleye. I was also fortunate to have a little residential pond across from where I grew up, and my mom could never get me off the banks of that pond. But Alum Creek is where I really learned my first bass tournament fishing. I joined the Alum Creek Bassmasters as a junior member, and a lot of those old timers took me out and taught me the ropes. And you know, back in the old days, we didn't have videotapes, and we didn't have all these seminars and the internet. You know, you really fought for every little bit of information you could get. You know, I used to go out day after day and not catch a fish, and I thought, you know, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And it is so, you guys have such an advantage these days between videotapes and TV shows and the internet. You can really make that learning curve happen a lot quicker. But I was real fortunate to have some old timers take me under their wings and show me a lot of tricks. And of course, we fished club tournaments all over the state of Ohio, and I fished many circuits in Ohio. So I fished most bodies of water in Ohio. But probably the thing that really opened up the world to me was when I started traveling. I finished high enough to get to some championships that were outside of our state, and we have a beautiful state, don't get me wrong, but our fishing is very, very difficult. And I always joke that some of the best fishermen in the world are from Ohio, but we don't know a whole lot about catching fish. So my first treat when I made a Red Man Regional was to go to a big southern impoundment and fish a multi-day tournament, and that was like the icing on the cake. I liked fishing pretty much just for fishing, but when you got to catch big fish on big beautiful bodies of water, it was even more exciting.
Charlie, is there any advice that you can give someone that wants to get to the level of fishing that you've gotten to?
Joe, we are so fortunate to live in America, and I know that sounds like an overused phrase, but we live in a country where you can actually do whatever you want to do. It's all about, you can always blame someone else for not getting to do whatever you wanted to do, but if you look in the mirror, you can do anything you want. You know, I love to fish. I was not the most talented fisherman in the world, but I love it enough that any moment I had, I either was preparing for a tournament or fishing. And, you know, it's dedication that got me to this level. People say, how can you work so hard? It's never been work for me. I love to fish, and I was not naturally born with a whole bunch of talent. But if you want to do something bad enough, and my mom taught me this, you know, if you want something bad enough and you dream about it all the time and you work towards it, you really can do whatever you want. And you know, if I'd have told you I really believed I was ever going to lead the BassMaster Classic, I'd be fibbing a little bit. But my mom always taught me that if I wanted something bad enough and tried hard enough, it could come true, and I'm living proof of that. I was leading the BassMaster Classic, most exciting week of my life, and you know, I would not trade any of the so-called hard work for, I mean, it was the greatest experience of my life. I hope to win the BassMaster Classic, but if I never do, what an experience, you know? And we live in an awful great country. Look what you're getting to do and look what I'm getting to do. I mean, don't let people tell you you can't do it. They're probably right. You need a backup plan. You need a real job. You need some other things in place, but there's anything you want to do in this world, you can do. You know, you can sit at home on your couch and watch other people do it and nothing bad will ever happen. But if you get out there and do it yourself, some bad things will happen, but man, some really exciting things will happen too.
Well, Charlie, I have had an exciting time talking with you about fishing today.
Well, it's always fun to talk about fishing.
Thank you for being a part of the show.
Thanks, Joe. Good to meet you, man.
Fishing with Joe has been brought to you in part by Fishin.net. Check out my new website at fishingwithjoe.com for special info about past and future shows, exclusive photos, and best of all, it's designed by Jards Enterprises and powered by EasyWeb. Check out EasyWeb for yourself.
It's professional, it's affordable, changes anytime you want. Call toll-free 1-877-MY-EasyWeb or sign on to 1-877-MyEasyWeb.com.
No private lakes or mystery locations ever. I'm Joe Jordan, and I hope to see you in one of my favorite fishing spots soon. Thanks for watching.